brother, start cleaning those tires up. Don't drink this time. Remember, they fan out down there, so protect that bottom. Sunday drive. All right, boss man. Hey, car's off. Be ready. Bud, be ready. Gas that bitch up. Ready. Green flag. Green.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Inside Pass. I'm alive, Tom.
You are alive. I'm happy to see that, man.
I am. It's great to be back.
It's good to be alive.
For almost a month now, because we
Yeah.
had 2 weeks of holiday break, and then I unfortunately had to quarantine for 2 weeks. So happy to be back in the studio with Tom Baker, our new esteemed co-host over there. Peter Strada is going to join us for the year and be part of our team now. So that's exciting. His cohort, Noah, will be here in a couple of weeks, but he's going to call later to be a part of our show. So we have another person to introduce to the panel. Of course, you guys all know him anyways, but
yes,
now they are official members of the Inside Pass team. And you guys met Mr. DeGroot last week. He another member of our esteemed panelists, but he's out busy doing iRacing tonight, so which he does every week anyways, but I digress. Anyway, so tonight we're going to change the format up a little bit. I'll explain everything a little bit later on because it takes some creative, some markers and construction paper to figure this all out. So, but I got props and I got all kinds of cool buttons and little things that we're gonna introduce to you guys to in the next segment. But we wanted to spend the first segment with our guest as we normally do. He is a esteemed member, esteemed journalist in racing, a well-respected guy all around the NASCAR and motorsports garage area from Sports Business Journal. Our buddy Adam Stern is on the StrutMasters.com hotline. Adam, I hope you had a great Christmas and New Year and ready to get back at it and get this racing season going again.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you for having me on. It's good to be back on and get the year started. Hopefully it's going to be better than 2020.
We certainly hope so. We don't want to talk about 2020 anymore. That is for sure. So the two big stories I want to get to, and then we'll cover some of the other rumors and things that we've all heard over the last few weeks. Of course, today, centered around Hailie Deegan and now having to go to sensitivity training. We're going to talk more about it in the next segment, but she basically got in trouble for iRacing, kind of like Kyle Larson, not really the same kind of situation, a little bit different, but she is now being asked by or told by NASCAR to take sensitivity training. What's the latest on the situation with her?
Yeah, I honestly don't have much more on it besides that at this stage. I've seen the same thing that you guys have that NASCAR released. So, obviously for someone like her who's trying to rise up the ranks, you would hope for someone like that you can just keep your concerns to on-track issues and on-track performance. And, obviously she's doing a very good job, I think, overall in terms of on-track, but at the same time she hasn't gotten in victory lane in, I think, around a calendar year or longer, right? So, for someone like her, she really needs to be trying to improve on the track to, be able to fulfill the huge kind of ambitions for her. And then to, then get into, as you kind of said or alluded to, a Kyle Larson-esque sort of deal, obviously different word, and that leads to a different situation to some extent, of course. We know how things work like that. But nonetheless, to get into this sort of situation certainly is not what she needs. She's trying to attract sponsorship and, quite candidly, hasn't, gotten a ton of sponsorship yet, which is a little bit surprising. She's obviously aligned with a huge brand of Monster Energy. That even though Monster does a lot of deals, like they still are a very big company, a very important company. So that's not to be underrated, being aligned with Monster Energy, but at the same time, really doesn't have any other big sponsors besides that in terms of like big blue chip companies. So, I'm sure her representation, people like that, are out in the market trying to find sponsors for her. And this just makes it a lot tougher, obviously. So, NASCAR, I think it was somewhat predicted last night by people that once this happened that she was probably going to undergo sensitivity training, and NASCAR has followed through on that today. So I really haven't heard much more besides that, but I would just expect that her representation, which currently my understanding is it's her dad's agent, is a gentleman named Bob Walker, who also represents her, and people like that, and also NASCAR executives and her team executives, et cetera, Ford, are going to impress upon her that she can't be having incidents like this. So obviously just an unfortunate situation.
So we had over the weekend the first ever NFL game broadcast on Nickelodeon. So my question to you, Adam, is when do we see the first NASCAR race broadcast live on Nickelodeon and the winner get green slimed in Victory Lane?
Well, we had that happen a couple of years ago. It wasn't on Nickelodeon, of course. That was the one difference. Obviously, Nickelodeon is owned by Viacom, and Viacom also owns CBS.
Yeah.
CBS has media rights to the NFL, so that's how they were able to kind of make that situation happen in the NFL with that game with the Bears and Saints. I think that was obviously got very fun reviews, good reviews. I enjoyed watching it. A lot of people did. So I think certainly you're right to the extent that it's probably going to inspire a lot of ideas. But obviously, interestingly enough, NASCAR has done deals with Nickelodeon in recent years and had that race, gosh, what was that, Chicagoland, where Martin Truex got the slime on him. So, and then obviously there was the year where they did the SpongeBob SquarePants 400 at Kansas, which was just tremendous. So, and I think that race, right, David Reagan had a SpongeBob paint scheme, but ended up skidding through the SpongeBob logo in the infield grass. So there's been some good moments with NASCAR and Nickelodeon. It'd obviously be fun to see more happen. The executive who was at Nickelodeon when a lot of those deals happened has moved on. He's actually at Jordan Brand now. Interestingly enough, of course, as we talk about NASCAR, but they really haven't done much with Nickelodeon in the past couple of years. So, maybe this will somehow rekindle them. I'm sure Nickelodeon's getting a ton of requests today because obviously they was very popular. But yes, obviously the fact that they're owned by Viacom, which also owns CBS, which has NFL rights, played a big part of it. So, I don't think Fox or NBC is going to be giving up their races anytime soon. They pay a lot of money for them. But it'd be fun to see Nickelodeon do some other stuff in the sport. And if they do, I'm sure the broadcasters will help participate.
Actually, Peter, the SRX deal is going to be on CBS.
Yeah.
So maybe we could do,
slime Tony Stewart.
Yeah, slime Tony Stewart. That would be fun.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. You're not wrong at all. The folks who help run SRX, they are obviously one of the groups is the Montag Group, which is basically a big kind of sports media, sports broadcaster agency, and they are very dialed into the NFL. I'm sure they were paying attention, and they're very close to CBS, so can't rule it out. They probably had the wheels turning yesterday in their minds, thinking about whether they could do something like that. So I guess we'll have to see.
Shifting gears a little, Adam, I was wondering, had you heard anything recently about Ty Dillon? From what I can see, he's really the only big player left in the Cup Series as far as silly season goes, and I've seen him tied to Richard Childress Racing. I've seen him tied with other teams in other series. Just what are your sources saying? What's the rumors about Ty Dillon?
Yeah, I wish I had a better answer for you. It's certainly a good question. I think you're right. There's probably nobody else left to figure out their rides for this upcoming season, or lack thereof rides. Outside of maybe one or two other people that could land up in one of the three national series. But certainly as far as Cup Series drivers, you're right. You're asking the right question. I've asked some people in recent weeks and gotten a lot of, not sure's. So, does that mean that he's not going to have a ride in 2021? It seems possible from what I kind of gather. No one specifically told me that he's out of NASCAR, but there just seems to be no buzz. So, usually, for example, Anthony Alfredo was looking around with some different teams, and then one thing led to another, and he kind of ended up with Front Row, and that kind of, that spilled out, well before they announced it. So, it's not rare at all. Even though it's not 100%, it's certainly not rare at all for if a driver's in talks with some teams, some people are going to hear about it one way or the other, and reporters like myself are going to hear about it. So I can't say with certainty yet that Ty's out, but the fact that I haven't heard any buzz, it certainly leads to the potential that he might not have a ride for this year. Has he given up? I haven't heard that. Is it definite that he's not going to have a ride? I can't say that, but I just haven't heard. If he has a ride, I haven't heard about it yet. So obviously it's getting very late in the game. We're obviously only a couple days above, 30 days, right, before Daytona. Yep. So if he doesn't have something announced within the next 2 weeks, I'd be shocked if he's going to have something that for this season. It doesn't seem like there is anything really left. So let's see if he pulls a rabbit out of a hat, but I'm not sure what ride is left. And if he has something lined up, I haven't heard about it.
So we have two races that are already been rescheduled. Of course, Fontana already off of the NASCAR calendar because it's in California. And then St. Pete has been rescheduled as well. Have you heard any other news about any other races, maybe the first part of the season being rescheduled on any of the other touring circuits?
Obviously I think you nailed the big ones. Just other things to look out for, of course, are Sonoma, Watkins Glen later the year, but they're later on in the season. I think Watkins Glen might have a better chance than Sonoma, quite candidly. Even if you just look at the newest comments today from New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, who gave some comments today almost saying that we can't wait for the vaccine to be, at a state where we reach herd immunity because we'll have nothing else to open. We'll have nothing to open at that time. So, it seems like maybe Watkins Glen has a better chance, but certainly Sonoma, it just, it's a long way away, of course. What is it, 6 months away-ish, 5 months at minimum, but, there's a lot of doubt around it. I haven't heard specifically that it's off by any stretch in the sense of confirmation, but certainly people are skeptical that we'll be going to Sonoma this year, and of course that's the same state that we already had to cancel a race in. Granted, Auto Club was much earlier in the schedule, so it is a little different, but California has just been so strict with it. But there's some other things to keep an eye on in terms of like what's the attendance going to be for the Indy 500. When you talk about St. Pete, obviously talking about IndyCar, I think the Indy 500 is a big thing to keep an eye on. They're kind of deciding right now, from what I understand, in terms of do they want to come out and say we're going to have 100% attendance, or do they want to come out and say we're only going to have 50% attendance? Now, the fact of the matter is 50% attendance at that place, depending on how you count the crowd, could literally be close to like 175,000 people. So even if they had 50% attendance, 175,000 people would be by far, I think, the largest gathering, in America since the coronavirus started. I mean, even including some of the massive rallies we've seen this summer and last week in D.C. and things like that, I still think 175,000. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what sort of messaging they feel like they can go out with and what they feel like they can do this year. So that's a big one to keep an eye on. But outside of that, I think, outside of the biggest races of the year like that, I think you're going to see most events try to soldier on to the extent they can, obviously with a reduced crowd. So, like, for example, of course, NASCAR is going to go to Homestead. Like, I don't think that race is in any danger. I just think they're going to have a reduced crowd. And I think you're going to see that in the following weeks. Phoenix has already announced that they're going to have a reduced crowd. So there's certainly going to be the potential for maybe one or two shakeups. And you look at Barber and IndyCar. I mean, it seems like their plan is to start there. Like, if they thought Barber was in risk of not starting there, I don't know why they wouldn't have just announced at the same time they announced that they were moving to St. Pete. So I think most of the events at this point are going to stick in the early part of the season, but certainly with reduced crowds, and then there's a couple later in the season to keep an eye on.
All right, Adam, we thank you so much for joining us. I know that the news is kind of like, not happening as much as it usually does, but we will certainly catch up with you again after NASCAR Speed Weeks, and anytime you have breaking news, we'll certainly get you on to talk about it. But thanks a lot for joining us tonight.
Absolutely, appreciate it.
No problem. Adam Starr, Sports Business Journal. We are going to take a break. We'll be back with more of the Inside Pass right after this.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
Victory Custom Trailers is the place to go for your next new or used trailer or coach. Being personally involved in the racing community allows Victory to fully understand what racers need in a trailer. They have over 200 coaches and trailers in stock for a variety of industries, and they can serve anyone in the continental U.S. If you're looking for something custom, they can assist in designing a trailer to fit your needs. Check out their entire inventory online at victorycustomtrailers.com.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. Beware of telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you. Callers threatening you with arrest or other legal action and demanding money are not from us. If you receive a call like this, hang up, do not provide them with any form of payment or information. Report the call at oig.ssa.gov.
What an awesome game. What's up with your car? I don't know. It won't start. How are we getting home? Chill. My parents signed me up for the roadside assistance from Lewis Meineke. It was free with my oil change. They'd come and get the car started or get us home and tow the car to the shop.
Good to know. With my driving, my parents never know what to expect.
When you join the Meineke Car Care Club with a $35 preferred service, you get 4 free months of roadside assistance, including tire change, battery jump, lockout service, towing, and more. Contact Lewis Meineke, located on Route 1, or call 827-2054.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family-owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
Hi, I'm Jesse Love, and you're listening to Race Chaser Radio. Now back to the show.
Welcome back to the Inside Pass here on our new home on Monday nights, right before Lead Lap, which is coming up in about 45 minutes or so. So that's kind of an interesting and neat thing that we're doing now. We're kind of
twice the fun.
Twice the fun, yes. Our show is gonna kind of go through a little bit of a format change. I'm going to explain it here in a second. For the record, I was sending out a text while we were on commercial break. I hate when phones, like, you type in a word and the phone puts in a word that's absolutely nothing to do with what you're trying to type. It's like, I was putting like always or something and it said Al Qaeda or something. And I'm like, that is not what I was trying to do.
I took that. I deleted that or stopped it.
It's stupid.
Autocorrect's awful.
We go back to the Strutmasters.com hotline to bring on our fourth co-host. I was going to say fourth wheel, but that kind of sounds a little. We don't consider him a wheel. He's more of a co-host for us.
It takes 4 wheels to make a car run. So
well, unless you're driving a 3-wheeler or something, or a dirt car.
It's not a car.
Cars. Well, that's Noah. Come bail us out of this.
Tricycle.
Welcome back to the show. We're glad that you made it safely back to us, back to our neck of the woods, and. Wish you could be here tonight, but I know you're going to be here in a few weeks to join us. So thanks for agreeing to phone in and join us tonight.
Yeah, guys. Hopefully you can hear me loud and clear here. But
we're good.
As always,
you're good.
Oh, great, awesome. So as always, great to be here.
So we decided that we are going to take a little bit of fun from ESPN. They do kind of like Around the Horn and pardon the interruption.
Happy hour.
And so we're going to steal a little bit of their idea and kind of do a Around the Horn type of show going forward. So I had to sit and kind of come up with rules and regulations because we can't have it a free-for-all, although it would be fun to do that. And maybe when Noah gets in the studio, we can throw out the whole pardon the interruption and say, we don't care if you interrupt us, let's have fun and do it. But 4 people talking at the same time is not always a great thing. So,
that's correct.
So what we're going to do is there's going to be 3 rounds of discussion. At the end of each round, the moderator, tonight will be me, since it's my show and this is a new concept. I'm going to keep score by scoring point. Now, we don't have the fancy thing like ESPN does where he makes a clicker and the numbers go up. I have to do it by hand. So if you can see, I have paper to write things. And we also have the dinger buzzer. So I will give points based on what I feel like is necessary because, again, I'm the host. I can do what I want. At the end of the round, whoever has the most points will earn a checkered flag, which is this little thing right here. If you've never seen one, hopefully you've seen one if you're watching a racing show. At the end of the show, whoever has the checkered flag will get like a minute to talk about whatever they want to talk about. And that's pretty much how this works. So, hold on. I'm tangled up. All right. Anyway, we also have that thing, which is whatever
first one was for you.
Whatever I
feel
like.
Up in a checkered flag.
It's we have the plus and the minus. That's pretty the minus. So that's pretty much how it works. So we'll start with Noah, and then we'll let Peter go, and then myself and Tom will jump in with our opinions next. So we'll start with the very first question, which is: Hailie Deegan, as we talked about with Adam starting earlier, was caught using the R word during an iRace. What are your thoughts, Noah?
Yeah, look, Hailie is young, and she's been thrown into being put under a spotlight very quickly at such a young age. But what comes with that is kind of understanding and always watching what you say and how you say things. NASCAR came out today and said she'll have to do some sensitivity training, and I think that'll be very good for Hailie. I think that it'll really help her maybe and kind of give her a gauge on how she talks going forward. But the things that she is doing, streaming while iRacing and things like that, I think it's wonderful for the sport. I just think she's got to figure her own way of making sure that she keeps a few things concealed and finds ways to interpret things a little bit better than she did.
Peter.
It's been amazing to see the explosion of iRacing and drivers Twitch streaming because of the pandemic. Everyone from Anthony Alfredo to Dale Jr. to Hailie Deegan is just a click of a button away on Twitch, and you can chat with them in real time. It's really amazing to see them racing, but virtually, and you're able to interact with them. But obviously, we saw what happened last year with Kyle Larson, and I think Hailie Deegan made a similar, not the same mistake, but a similar mistake. And I think the sensitivity training, like Noah said, I think that's appropriate punishment, and hopefully it'll be a good lesson for her.
Tom.
Drivers get penalized more for racing when they're racing their desks than they do when they're racing their cars. What in the world is going on here? I mean, Hailie Deegan, look, again, my parents and my English teacher from years ago taught me, think before you speak. Think before you speak. Nowadays, it's like just say whatever you want and worry about the consequences later. I do find it interesting, though, and I don't know what it says, that NASCAR decided that this wasn't worth her being basically banished from the sport for a year, as as Kyle Larson's comment was. But at any rate, she gets sensitivity training, and she'll carry on in the Truck Series when the season starts at Daytona.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you are talking about two different words. It could mean the same thing. It could mean different. I mean, obviously they mean different things, but I mean, it depends on, I guess, how you take the word, to mean, are you offending this group of people versus this group of people? But to me, it's still an offensive word. It shouldn't be used either way. Just like we talked about with Kyle Larson, it's still iRacing. You still need to be careful what you say, no matter who you're saying it to or what you're saying it about. You're old enough to know how to classify yourself, whether you're online or in the middle of a race. You're old enough to know better, and it's a word you shouldn't say, no matter how you're brought up.
Correct.
You shouldn't say it either way. In the case of which the next round we'll talk about if the punishment fits the crime or the crime fits the what was handed down to her. Again, if NASCAR wants to stay consistent, stay consistent. If you're going to do it to one, you should do it to everything. Make an example out of people, because eventually, at some point, people are going to stop doing it if they know that the crime at the end of the punishment is going to be, I'm not going to get to race in NASCAR for a year because I said something stupid and I shouldn't have said it at all. So that's my 2 cents. Noah, do you think that the crime or the punishment that was handed down by NASCAR today fits the crime that Hailie Deegan did?
Oh, I most certainly do. I think that it needed to be addressed. NASCAR needed to. It started making headlines, and as it should. And NASCAR needed to give her something in response to that. And I think sensitivity training, like I said, will do Hailie very well. This was, I believe, one of her first major apologies that she had to come out and say. And I think once you do that once, you really don't ever want to do it again. And I'm sure the partners and the team really got on her for that. So I think everything involved here, just to give her a wake-up call, like, hey, you are under a spotlight here. We know you're young, but you are representing a lot of people, and you're speaking to a lot of people, so you need to make sure what comes out of your mouth is something that's going to be accepted.
Peter.
I think absolutely. I mean, like I said just a minute ago, it's similar to what happened with Larson last year, but at the same time, I think with how young and inexperienced she isn't yet a National Series driver. She's not as established as Larson was. She doesn't have as much of a platform as Larson did. I think this does fit the crime, and hopefully she'll learn from it.
Tom.
I think she set a record, didn't she? I mean, she got her first sensitivity training before she even turned the lap in the Truck Series. I mean, it's like get it out of the way early. That's kind of the way I feel about it, and then you're done. Her mulligan's up. Look, yeah, it's. I mean, the punishment I think fits here. this is a different situation and different thing altogether, in my opinion, than Kyle's situation. And so I think you give her the training and you sternly warn her that this should not happen again.
Bottom line is just don't say anything dumb on iRacing.
Yes.
Just keep it to yourself and shut your mouth. The topic number 2, Fast Pasta was added to Front Row Motorsports for 2021. Rate his success from 1 to 10, and your thoughts on his signing, Noah.
Yeah, it's really hard. I was sitting here thinking about when you just said that, what Anthony has done to get to this point, and we haven't seen him run a full season in trucks or Xfinity. We have seen him in those cars, but he's not run a full season in them. So it's a bit of an odd way to get to the Cup Series. However, we did see some fast speed and some consistency out of him with Richard Childress Racing last year. And I think if he has partners that are backing him enough to say, we will sign you in a NASCAR National Series Cup car, then obviously he's impressing them, and that's what really matters. So, from 1 to 10, it's hard for me to say. I'm going to give it a 5 just because I don't really know what Anthony is fully, what he can fully bring without seeing him run full schedules in other series. But I am optimistic that he'll fit in there.
Peter.
Just to disagree with Noah, I'll give Anthony a 6 on this signing. We've seen these front row cars get progressively better. I mean, I believe Michael McDowell last year had the best season in this team's history. I think he was 23rd or 24th in points with a couple top 10s. I think, honestly, if Alfredo is just the opposite of what John Hunter Nemechek was in the second half of last year, where it seemed like Nemechek was crashing every week, and I think he had 5 or 6 DNFs because of crashes, and I think he actually led the Cup Series in crashes. I think that this will be a successful season. I expect to see him in the mix on super speedways, maybe short tracks, maybe field mileage races, and with all these road courses, who knows what will happen.
Tom.
Okay, I give Anthony a 10 for this signing, and let me tell you why. Because although it may seem like from an experience standpoint, he wouldn't nearly be ready for Cup, I think from a business standpoint, this is a great signing for 2 reasons. Number one, it's always easier to get partners for the top level of a type of racing than it is for the lower and mid levels. But number two, he comes into Front Row Motorsports in a situation where, number one, they're trying to trend younger. Number two, it now puts him in the greater Ford family, so who knows where that goes. And number three, I think this is great because he's under the radar. Nobody's going to expect much out of him, so anything good that he does is a bonus. And oh, by the way, David Reagan is running a third car in the 500. What a mentor for Anthony Alfredo that is.
There you go. So that's the end of round one. Tom has 6 points. He gets the flag, so there's the flag for you if I don't get tangled up in my stuff. And that's how round one is played. We'll do multiple choice when we come back. And we'll start round two with Tom in the lead, and we'll see how things go. But that's how round one is played. Just for the record, I think if you look at the people that have left to be signed, Anthony Alfredo has proven that he can run up front in any car he's given, and so why not give him the opportunity to see what he can do inside the Cup car and give Chase Briscoe a run for his money for Rookie of the Year, because as of 2 days ago, he was the only rookie running. We're going to take a break. We'll be back. More of the Inside Pass right after this.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper car, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Lewis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
Victory Custom Trailers is the place to go for your next new or used trailer or coach. Being personally involved in the racing community allows Victory to fully understand what racers need in a trailer. They have over 200 coaches and trailers in stock for a variety of industries, and they can serve anyone in the continental U.S. If you're looking for something custom, they can assist in designing a trailer to fit your needs. Check out their entire inventory online at victorycustomtrailers.com.
He wanted to be known for doing his best.
Sure, right.
His best made him Major League Baseball's most valuable player.
Strike two.
He played in 6 World Series and was elected to the Hall of Fame. Although an honest man, he was best at stealing home. But the best quality of Jackie Robinson's life was his character. So here's to you, Mr. Robinson. Thanks for passing it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at Values.com.
Hi, this is Ty Ankrum, and you're listening to Race Chaser Radio. Now back to the show.
Welcome back to the Inside Pass here on WSIC, PMN, and all of our broadcasting partners. Thank you so much for coming back with us here in 2021, the second show of the year, my first show back, because, problems. Anyway, Randy Miller, Tom Baker, Peter Strada's with us this year. Noah Lewis is on the Strutmasters.com hotline. He's joining us as well. Nick DeGroot will be here from time to time, too, as part of our panel of, I say experts. I use the term very loosely, although we are experts. I
resemble that remark.
But anyway, round one, for those of you who just joined us, we kind of changed the format a little bit, doing more of a rapid-fire type of pardon the interruption or around the horn type of show. Tom won round one, which is why he has the checkered flag in front of him that our producer Malik so graciously hung from the.
I saw that.
From the,
nice work,
the boom
James.
mic while we were on commercial break. So we will start round two, kind of a multiple choice type of round, and just kind of doing more of the same thing again. We'll start with Noah, then Peter, Tom, and myself. We start with the new teams that are in NASCAR: 2311 Racing, Live Fast Motorsports, and Trackhouse Racing. Which team comes out swinging and not necessarily winning, just meeting their team's expectations? Noah.
Oh, gosh, I don't know how you can go against 2311. Maybe somebody in there thinks differently, but I think all of the support, the funding, the people involved in that operation, and affiliation with JGR, the sponsorship backing of Bubba Wallace, it is a beautiful combination for what I think will be a very successful inaugural season for those guys over at 2311. So I'm certainly high expectations right out of the gate, 2311 Racing.
Peter.
While I will also agree with 2311 Racing, I will mention that I believe on social media they said they just got their Daytona car this week. So it seems like they're kind of rushing things to the last minute. But I still do think that the team put together behind Bubba Wallace, Mike Wheeler, a bunch of the guys from Levine Family Racing, and of course Denny Hamlin as a co-owner in that team, I think they will be somewhere in that 15th to 20th place in points as we progress through the regular season and get towards the playoffs.
Tom.
I think you have to go with 2311 Racing simply because I think the odds are in their favor. It's basically a JGR car. It's a lot of experienced JGR Toyota people, and it's Bubba Wallace. I mean, the other teams, you got Live Fast with BJ McLeod. He's not a regular Cup racer. That's a brand new team from the ground up. It's going to take him a while to gel. And Trackhouse Racing, again, new team for Justin Marks with Daniel Suarez driving the car. And I think as we go farther into the season, the Trackhouse Racing operation may be the sleeping dark horse of these three. But I think to start the season, you've got to put the odds on Bubba Wallace. I actually think he'd come out and run for the win at Daytona.
Yeah, in terms of expectations, obviously 2311 Racing is going to have the most expectation, the most eyes looking at the team, because everybody and every moving part in that team, like Noah said, is all superstar caliber type of, everything. They threw everything at that team to make sure it came off the ground running. I put the thing in there about, not necessarily winning, but meeting expectations, because before we went on a break, we had Matt Tift on our show, and I could tell in his voice that he is excited about doing this ownership thing. Yes. He has a high expectation for himself. Even if BJ McLeod hasn't ever ran, a full season in Cup, hasn't really owned a Cup team, he himself has expectations for what he wants to see in that team. Obviously, BJ McLeod is going to drive the car this year. You're not going to expect him to go out and run, top 15, top 10. But if they can break into the top 30 in points, I think that is a win for that whole organization first go around. Because they're not out there. They know that they're not winning races right off the bat. That's just the way that it goes. As far as Trackhouse goes, same thing. It's kind of the same spectrum. Justin Marks understands that they're not out there to win races, but they have a good driver. If they put the resources behind Daniel Suarez that he needed at Gibbs and he needed at Gaunt to make him the superstar that he knows how to be, then I think that maybe in 2022 when the new car comes along, I think he'll be better prepared to be able to run in the top 10 or top 15. Again, maybe not for wins, but you're looking at a team that's just getting started, so you don't expect them right off the bat, the way that you would 2311 Racing. So Chase Briscoe, Anthony Alfredo are the two rookies that are competing for Rookie of the Year this year. Should Ross Chastain be eligible for Rookie of the Year? Because he's never ran a full, complete season in the Cup Series garage. Noah, your thoughts?
Yeah, that's pretty hard. We think of Ross Chastain, and I don't think of him as a newcomer to the Cup Series. But we have seen in the past that, you don't have to be, and you are still thrown with the rookie stripes. But Ross has been around a while. So I would say it's hard. I would say no, because of just how much experience he has among all three series, and then, of course, in that Cup Series as well. But we have, like I said, we have seen in the past that rookie stripes get thrown on a car just because they haven't completed a full season. However, I don't find Ross Chastain to be any rookie.
Peter.
Going back to his amazing 2019 season where he started the year running for Xfinity points and then switched to the Truck Series to run for that championship, he set a NASCAR record for running 76 races. 35 of those were in the Cup Series, so he only missed one Cup race that year. And the year before, in 2018, he ran 34 of 36 Cup races. So for those 2 years alone, I say no, Ross should not be considered a rookie this year.
And you are exactly right, because the full season thing doesn't matter. It's a certain number of races. After a number of, I think it's like 12 or something. Mm-hmm. I can't remember, 13. You're no longer a rookie. So Ross Chastain would not be considered a rookie. And as Peter correctly pointed out, he's had a couple of years now where he's run almost all of the races. So that's why he is not a rookie.
And I can't disagree with any of those three people, because I play 100% agree.
We stole your thunder.
You did, but that's okay, because that's what the show's all about. All right, yes. So Kyle Larson back in the 5 car for Hendrick Motorsports. They've already changed the marquee to the number 5, so it's legit at this point. Can he and will he turn his career around in the 5 car? Noah, your thoughts?
Yes. It's Kyle Larson we're talking about here. Kyle, he's been very vocal on the mistake he made and coming and turning around from that mistake. And he went out and ripped the dirt world in 2020 and really has shown that he has a desire to get back Cup racing. And I think he's got more drive than ever before. And then not to mention, look at the schedule that we have this year. We have a dirt race on the schedule. That's going to play right into Kyle. And we have Hendrick Motorsports. They're a powerhouse team, and Kyle Larson making the jump, a whole new fresh start for him. Nothing is the same. I think Kyle Larson will most certainly turn around, and I think Kyle Larson will have wins when we exit 2021.
Peter.
Noah teased what I was going to say perfectly. I think Larson's first big win back is the Bristol Dirt Race, and I think that'll open the floodgates for this 5-team becoming a regular, consistent winner again. I think that just the more reps Larson gets in the Hendrick environment and that equipment, the better he gets. Because think back to his rookie year, 2014. Everyone said, this guy's the next Jeff Gordon. He's going to be a generational talent. And nearly half the races that year, he placed in the top 10. He had shots to win as a rookie in a lackluster Ganassi car. So, yes, I think he can and absolutely will turn his career around in 2021. I expect a deep playoff run from the 5 team.
Y'all need to stop hanging out together, Tom.
Kyle Larson.
I think too much alike.
Kyle Larson will not win his first race at Bristol on the dirt, because I'm calling the shot that Kyle Larson wins his first race at Daytona in the 500. Bristol will be his second win. And the reason I'm calling that is not because Kyle is a super driver who's heads and shoulders better than everybody else, but just because there's a lot of momentum and a lot of hype around Kyle Larson. Hendrick is always tough at Daytona. You know Kyle's going to be out to prove a point, and if that car is capable of winning, Kyle Larson's going to find a way to get it to victory lane, and then, like we've said, go to Bristol and win again.
Like I said, Noah and Peter should not be hanging out together. I'm going to give myself a point just because I feel like that's true. Anyway, Santino Ferrucci dumped Indy for 2021 to run a partial Xfinity Series schedule with Sam Hunt Racing and TRD. Good move or bad move, Noah?
Good move. I have looked at Santino Ferrucci for so long and wanted him to make a NASCAR jump. I didn't expect it at this magnitude, but I'm fully on board with that. I've seen Santino race, and he makes moves in an Indy car that you'd think should be in a stock car. And so I'm excited to see Santino come over and adapt, and I think he's got all the desire in the world to do so, and I think he could really fit into the NASCAR circuit.
Peter.
I'm just looking over Santino's IndyCar stats now, and his best results have come on ovals. Iowa, Indianapolis, Pocono, Gateway. He has a knack for running ovals, so why not go to an oval-centric series? I love this move. He's a very electric personality. He reminds me a lot of Noah Gragson, honestly, and I think he'll definitely turn some heads in what many think is a lackluster car. I think he'll outperform his equipment, outdrive it a lot, and I don't want to say he'll win or make the playoffs, but I think he'll have some highlight moments in 2021.
Huh?
I'm a little concerned that Santino's not going to be able to drive the car, because isn't there some sort of a yardstick like at the amusement park that you have to be so tall to ride this ride? Have you seen how short that young man is? Santino, no, I kid. Santino is a huge talent, but look, this is going to be an adjustment here for him. He's never driven anything like a stock car before. Sam Hunt Racing, this is the biggest thing that's ever happened to them in Sam's entire life. To grab him and an association with TRD, it is a good move for Sam. It's probably not a great move in the beginning for Santino, but I do think eventually he'll find that he really enjoys racing the stock cars, and probably in the end a good move for him too.
He does a lot of iRacing, right?
Yeah, he does.
Or he had been doing a lot of iRacing in years past. So, I mean, to me, as long as it gets some of the IndyCar people to come watch NASCAR for a little bit, even if they don't care about it, but just watch when he's in it. I mean, it's ratings, and it's an opportunity to get new fans. Yeah. So I don't know how you could go wrong with that. All right, so at the end of round 2, Noah is going to win this round, although we're black flagging him because he's not here. But we'll keep the flag where it is. No, I'm just kidding. We love Noah. We can't wait to have him in studio with us. But so he will be the winner of round 2. We got a lightning round coming up in just a few minutes, and then that'll be a little bit more of a quicker thing. And of course, we'll pick a winner, or I guess I'll pick a winner. It's my show. At the end of the thing, I'm kicking myself. Well, I'm kicking myself out. I'm gonna take the high road here and let you guys, because you guys are we're agreeing way too much. So by the time it gets to me, I have nothing else left to say. So I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut. We are gonna take another break. We'll come back. Round number 3 of the Inside Pass coming up right after this.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper car, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Lewis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
He wanted to be known for doing his best.
Sure, right.
His best made him Major League Baseball's most valuable player.
Strike two.
He played in 6 World Series and was elected to the Hall of Fame. Although an honest man, he was best at stealing home. But the best quality of Jackie Robinson's life was his character. So here's to you, Mr. Robinson. Thanks for passing it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at Values.com.
When Marlon Shirley was 5 years old, he was in an accident and lost his foot, but he didn't lose his heart.
When you tackle a challenge that you just cannot even fathom tackling, when you accomplish that, the amount of integrity and the will and the heart that you'll get from that experience is what will set you up for your life.
In less time than it took Marlon Shirley to say that, he can now run 100 meters because today he's the world's fastest amputee. Overcoming. Pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at Values.com.
I'm Casey Kane, and you're listening to Race Chaser Radio. Now back to the show.
Welcome back to the Inside Pass. Kind of a new feel to the show a little bit. If you guys missed the intro, that was created by me. You're welcome. Randy Miller, Tom Baker, Peter Strada, Noah Lewis, back with you here on our new feel of the show. Adam Stern was our guest at the beginning of the show, and if you missed that, you can catch it on demand any point in time this week. It'll be up on all of your major podcasting platforms. Just search Race Chaser online anywhere, or the Inside Pass, and you can see the show or hear the show on your favorite podcasting websites. All right, round number 3 is coming up. Tom won round 1, Noah won round 2. So it's hopefully Peter's time to shine, and he can win round 3, and then we'll have a 3-way tie, and y'all can fight it out in the parking lot for whoever wins. So this is kind of more like a lightning round. We're going to try to go as fast as we can, but we only have 8 minutes to kill, so it's not going to be that fast, but fast enough to get through this, and then we'll pick a winner, and they get a minute to talk about anything that they want to talk about. So we'll start with the Vegas odds for 2021, have Kevin Harvick winning the title. Noah, do you agree or disagree, and who really cares about odds anyway? Noah, are you there?
I am here.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you hear what I said?
I did not.
Okay. All right. Well, let's just start this segment over again. Vegas odds have Kevin Harvick winning the 2021 title. Do you agree or disagree? And who really cares about the odds anyway?
No, I don't agree. I think Kevin's been riding such a hot streak recently that I think that it's going to start to subside, and he's getting a little bit older. So I don't think we should care about odds right now. We haven't even seen the cars at the track yet. We don't know what it looks like. A lot of new faces, a lot of new characters in different places. So I would not agree with the odds yet.
Peter?
I may be reading too much into this, and this may be an incredibly hot take, but I think the collapse we saw at the 4 team at Martinsville will be the ultimate undoing of Harvick's dynasty he's had over the Cup Series in the past 5 or 6 years. I don't see him being his regular 5, 6, 7 win self. I see him maybe getting 2 or 3 wins this year. So, no, I don't think he's the championship favorite.
Wow, Tom.
You know, it's been my observation that over the years, there is no more dangerous Kevin Harvick than a Kevin Harvick who's mad. And for all the reasons that Peter pointed out, I would think that we should make Kevin Harvick the favorite for the championship, but I'm not sure he's actually going to win it. I will predict this, though. The 14 car out of that stable is going to win at least one race this year and get into the playoffs, and that's Chase Briscoe. No, I don't really care about odds.
That's a very valid point. Yeah, I don't think anybody does. So I think the odds had Harvick and Hamlin like first and second, and neither one of them. Well, I guess Hamlin made the final four, but Harvick did not.
Yeah,
and they both won. A half a dozen reasons. So the Hendrick driver to win first and most often, Noah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess many would go to the championship runner from 2020, but I think I'm going to go with Kyle Larson. I just think he's got that drive. I'm going to piggyback off of Tom's comment earlier. Maybe he comes out swinging in Daytona, and we see him get that one right away. But I think that Kyle Larson is on the biggest momentum hot streak that he's ever been on. He's got the most desire to set the record straight and show what he can do in the car and just show that he's back among his competitors. And I think he's going to come out full blazes ahead. Kyle Larson is going to be the most winningest driver for Hendrick Motorsports this year.
Peter.
All right, mark this down because I'm not agreeing with Noah.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
To be the best, you got to beat the best. Chase Elliott won the last two races in the 2020 season. I think he comes out guns blazing, and I think he'll have a legit shot to win the Daytona 500. If not one of the early season races, either the road course, Homestead, or one of the West Coast swing races. And I think he'll be Hendrick's winningest guy again with 5 wins.
Tom?
Hendrick sweeps Daytona is going to be the headline when we get done with the road course race that follows the 500 because Kyle Larson's going to win the 500 and, of course, Chase Elliott's going to win the road course, and he's going to win probably 6 of the 7 this year at least. So the winningest Hendrick driver is going to be Chase Elliott, but Kyle Larson's going to get a couple, and I do think all of the Hendrick drivers will win a race this year.
Well, that's a doable point. Kyle Busch goes from 1 win in 2020 to how many wins in 2021, Noah?
I would put Kyle Busch at around 3 to 4 wins in 2020. I mean, he's got to learn a new crew chief. Kyle Busch, we've talked about this before. He is a very practice-oriented driver. He likes to practice the car, feel it out, change it up. He's one of the biggest and key guys to go into a practice session and come out of it with a completely different setup. But a new relationship was definitely needed on top of the box. And I think Kyle and Ben Bayshore and their history together within the different series and even in the Cup Series when Ben subbed for goodness, name's escaping me, but for Kyle's former crew chief, they've done some good stuff together. So I think that pairing will help them get more wins than he did in 2020. And I think being used to not having practice may translate over. But I still think Kyle won't be as big of a deal as he has been in past seasons without the use of practice.
-1 point for you. It's Adam Stevens. Go, Peter.
Adam Stevens, thank you.
I think he'll get 4 wins in 2021. I think going to so many new racetracks the Cup Series has never seen before will be a bit of an even playing field for a couple guys for the whole series. And I think tracks that Kyle has Xfinity or truck starts at, like Nashville, like Road America, I think will play into the 18 teams wheelhouse. And yeah, Chase Elliott's won a couple road course races recently, but Kyle's a pretty stout road racer himself. He was one of the few guys to get wins at Sonoma and Watkins Glen. I believe he has a pair of wins at each track.
Real quick, Tom.
I think he's going to get 2 wins in 2021, doubling his win total from 2020. I don't know. I just am kind of bearish on Kyle Busch right now.
I can't believe no one even mentioned the fact that we actually have practice and qualifying 7 times this year. So those seven potential races that he might be be able to win. All right, so with 16 points, Noah is the winner for show number 1. Noah, you get 1 minute to talk about whatever you need to talk about.
Oh, my goodness.
You're down to 55 seconds.
Scary. Oh, my gosh. The intensity is on. No, I'm just very excited for what we're going to bring this year on this day, on all the different shows that we have. I'm excited to get back in the studio on Thursday, and then for the upcoming Mondays, always clashing and coming off of you guys is a highlight of my week whenever, and I'm so thankful for all the listeners out there that do tune into us crazy people talking about NASCAR or racing in general because that's what we love to do.
Well, you still have 25 seconds, but I'll get you. I got you on that one. Yes, and I completely agree with all those sentiments as well. And hopefully, you guys love the new format of the show. I thought it was a fantastic show. I liked it, Tom.
Yeah, it was fun.
Also, all I could think of was Dave Rogers. I don't know why Adam Stevens is escaping me. But.
No, well, you still lost a point. You still won, even though you lost a point. You'd have had 17, but whatever. That's the way that the game is played. So we thank you guys so much for tuning into our show this week. Next week, we got Jeffrey Earnhardt coming on, so that'd be cool to be able to talk to him about his new venture over at JD Motorsports. So yes, thank you for the ding.
You're welcome.
So that'll be exciting,
Nice
and we'll have another round of racing talk with our kind of a new format coming up next. It's a lead lap. Tom Peter's going to stick around. I'm going to get out of here, but I'll see you guys next week with another great show for all of our guests and all of our panelists and everybody watching and listening. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week on the Inside Pass.
Sit down, strap in, and Granny put your teeth in your pocket. Bleep Lap Radio, powered by Victory Custom Trailers, starts now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to show number 2 of our Monday Fun Day Motorsports doubleheader here on Race Chaser Radio, the Performance Motorsports Network. My name is Tom Baker. This is Lead Lap, presented by Victory Custom Trailers. We'll tell you more about the good folks at Victory Custom Trailers a little bit later on in the program. We are again broadcasting live from the WSIC studio in Statesville, North Carolina. Joining me in the studio, Peter Strada, who is left over from the Inside Pass show that we just finished airing here on the Performance Motorsports Network and Race Chaser Radio. Peter writes for the Sports Journal. And, of course, James Mellick, our old reliable producer, is in the studio with us as well. We have Jason Reichert joining us at 8:15. And if you're wondering who is Jason Reichert, Jason is a young man from the West Coast who already has 15 championships in open wheel and sports car racing. And he is a rapidly rising young star in the left and right world. So we're going to talk to him. And the cool thing is you're all going to get a little bit of an education about some of the mid-level sports car series where you can go racing for as little as about $3,000 a race and run tracks like Daytona and Charlotte and Sebring and Coda. I mean, it's a really cool deal, and it's I think for a lot of you, it's going to be the first time you're really hearing about it. So we'll get to that when Jason comes on, but we're going to start the show with some NASCAR talk, and I want to focus on something that's happening in the Xfinity Series because Santino Ferrucci is coming over from IndyCar, Peter, and this is really an intriguing thing to me because Santino comes from an open wheel background, from go-karts all the way up. He's been open wheel. He's done no stock car racing whatsoever other than on iRacing. And it's really interesting. He's going to run for Sam Hunt Racing. We're going to try to get Sam and hopefully Santino in here to do one of these shows on the Race Chaser Radio Network and the Performance Motorsports Network before too long. But this is a really interesting pairing. What do you think we should expect from Santino in 2021?
I think Santino is certainly a bright young talent among American drivers, period. I think whether he continues the IndyCar path or the NASCAR path, I think big things are in his future. It just depends on what team he gets with. He had a competitive ceiling in IndyCar with Dale Coyne Racing because they were a lower-level team. They're not going to regularly compete and contend against the Penske's or Ganassis or Andretti's of IndyCar. And I feel like Sam Hunt Racing is a bit of the same in Xfinity. They're not a top-level team. They're not a Junior Motorsports. They're not a Joe Gibbs Racing. But I think given enough seat time, maybe a year or two, if he's still committed to running stock cars, I think Sam Hunt and TRD, their backing can prove big things and give good results.
Yeah, it's interesting. SHR is a very hardworking team. I've known Sam Hunt a while, and he really has put his heart and soul into building this program. And I think, again, as NASCAR goes forward and the new Cup business model takes over, and I think you're probably going to see eventually some changes to the Xfinity Series even too with regards to the cars, I would guess, to make them standard to the Cup car. But until then, I think this is a good opportunity. Again, nobody's going to expect a ton out of Santino, so I don't think there's a lot of pressure on him. I think if he just comes out and tells himself, look, I've got to learn, I've got to, because it's going to be about managing a car. This isn't IndyCar where it's, all out for 200 laps or whatever. This is about management, and he's got to learn a different mindset and learn patience and learn that he doesn't have to lead every lap. If he can just get finishes in the beginning of the year and log laps and not crash a lot, then I think this team has the chance to be a little bit of a surprise in the Xfinity Series. So I think it's cool that that this is happening. Sam's a great guy, and I think Santino is it's kind of a Noah Gragson-esque personality. He's kind of got that little beaker hairstyle going. He's just a really fun guy, and I think he'll breathe some energy into the Xfinity Series. So that's I wanted I wanted to start there. The other big story, I think, Anthony Alfredo making the jump to Cup with Front Row Motorsports. Now, for me, this is a great business decision because he goes to the Cup Series, and Ford, now he's in the greater Ford family, but I think the biggest thing that I like about this is that Front Row Motorsports wanted to trend younger. Anthony sort of fell into this opportunity when John Hunter Nemechek left, and not a lot's going to be expected from the young driver they call Fast Pasta this year. So anything he does that's good is a bonus. I think it's the perfect opportunity, even though he probably could have used another year of Xfinity. Might as well learn in the big series as opposed to the middle one.
Of course, if someone offers you a Cup ride over a part-time Xfinity or truck offer, you take the Cup ride just for experience,
Sure.
just to be in the big show on Sundays and hopefully catch the eye of a big-time owner for like Rick Hendrick, Joe Gibbs, whomever.
Yeah, I think this is a really good fit. And again, this group at Front Row, when we hit the reset in 2022, at least in theory, everybody's equal for a little while. Anthony will already have a year under his belt. No, by the way, David Reagan is signed for a one-race deal with Front Row to drive the 36 Ford for the Daytona 500, and that's a great mentor for Anthony to have at Daytona as he makes his first start in that race. To have David Reagan, he's a great super speedway racer. It's perfect.
Definitely. The more teammates you have out there in the draft, the better. And he's with Ford, who's taken the manufacturer alliance drafting to the top level. I mean, they're the best at working together, the corporate alliances, the Penske's, the Roush's, everyone Front Row. And I think he'll be up front at times throughout the duel or throughout the 500.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. So those are a couple of the top NASCAR stories. Now we've got some conversation going on as to whether the Indy 500 going to take place on Memorial Day weekend is scheduled this year, or they may put it off again to ensure that they have a full crowd. Which would you rather see, a reduced crowd in May on Memorial weekend or a full crowd later in the year?
You can't mess with tradition with the Indy 500, and it happening in August last year just felt so weird. And it going up against a NASCAR race, a playoff deciding race, might have you a late regular season race where Jimmy Johnson was contending, I believe. It just felt so awkward having to have two TVs watching both races at the same time. Yeah, having limited or no fans is part of the world we live in, and no one likes it, but I'd rather have it on Memorial Sunday.
Yeah, I would too, to be honest. I think the idea of running the Indy 500 later in the year again, it just fell flat last year. It wasn't even a very good race, to be honest, but I think to see it Memorial weekend, even if it has to be a reduced crowd, you got to get that tradition back. The Penske organization was robbed of that this year because of COVID, their first year as owners of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So I would love to see just a huge Memorial Day weekend deal. And maybe we'll get lucky enough that they can have the full crowd even in May. We'll just have to see how things go. But certainly I think the Indy 500 needs to be back in its slot if it can. Now, looking at F1, I think that we've got a couple of things here to focus on, but the one that I'm most intrigued by is the fact that, yes, this is still Lewis Hamilton's series. The question I have for you with F1 is, who do you think steps up next year? A lot of drivers have moved around. Who do you think steps up as being the closest driver to challenge Lewis Hamilton in 2021?
I think George Russell. I think he's determined as he'll ever be after that one start he had in the Mercedes car, and he really put on a clinic that day until the botched pit stop late. That was his race to win, and I think that'll just fuel his fire, and I think at times this year he'll outperform even Max Verstappen, his very experienced teammate over there at Red Bull.
I think that Red Bull organization, if nothing else, it's going to be fun to watch. I don't know how close they're going to get to Lewis Hamilton most of the year, but I think that could be a lot of fun to watch. George and Max are good friends, and they've got huge personalities. If you follow them on their social media, especially Instagram, those guys are nuts. It's just a lot of fun. There's a lot of young talent in F1 coming in now. And I think to have Mick Schumacher running for for Haas is going to be a huge addition to the series, because while that team is still struggling with performance, to have Mick Schumacher in one of your cars and let him kind of grow into the series, number one, it jumpstarts your organization. Number two, it gives you a driver you can actually build around. I mean, I don't want to say they're going to be fantastic out of the box, but this could be a team that could really be interesting to watch after about halfway.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Mick Schumacher, I believe he was the F2 champion this year, and yeah, he has a Schumacher last name, so it's like an Earnhardt or an Elliott entering the series, but I think with his talent alone, he can propel that Haas car into the top 10, into the points more often, if they can get their reliability issues under control.
And by the way, you've got Pietro Fittipaldi out there still trying to find something to race in 2021. Lots of rumors that maybe IndyCar may be his future. And personally, I'd rather see that than see him in F1, though I would imagine he probably would prefer to be across the pond. But I just think that Pietro would make a great IndyCar racer, and again, a big name for that series, especially with the road course emphasis that they have this year, just 3 ovals that they're running. So should be interesting. Peter Strada, appreciate you stopping by and hanging around for the first segment here of Lead Lap presented by Victory Custom Trailers. We'll let you scoot on out, and we'll get ready as we transition to some road course conversation. Don't miss this. How to go road course racing for $3,000 a race at Daytona, coming up right after these words.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family-owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
Here at Lewis Meineke, we're more than just your average car care center. Hey, it's Dave, your neighbor from Lewis Meineke. Whether you need an oil change, brakes, tires, or anything under the hood, we've got you covered. Take advantage of our free check engine light service as well. Yes, free. And don't forget about our free shuttle service. Never stress, we'll take care of the rest. On with life. Give us a call at Lewis Meineke, 302-827-2054.
Victory Custom Trailers is the place to go for your next new or used trailer or coach. Being personally involved in the racing community allows Victory to fully understand what racers need in a trailer. They have over 200 coaches and trailers in stock for a variety of industries, and they can serve anyone in the continental U.S. If you're looking for something custom, they can assist in designing a trailer to fit your needs. Check out their entire inventory online at victorycustomtrailers.com.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Jesse Love, and you're listening to Race Chaser Radio. Now back to the show.
snap in here between segments. Welcome back to Lead Lap, presented by Victory Custom Trailers. We'll tell you more about them in a moment. But first, we're going to go to the phone line and welcome Jason Reichert with us. Jason's out of the LV, Nevada. That's Las Vegas, for those of you not in the know. Las Vegas, Nevada area. And Jason is a 15-time champion, and he's only 20? How old are you now, Jason?
I'm 21. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Sure, yeah. We're always glad to have you back on, and I know that when we first had you on, you had just won. I think it was the first time you had won the SCCA runoffs in, what was it, F1600 or something? What were you running back then?
Formula Continental or F2000.
Okay. Okay,
yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And then and then we had you on once last year too. Now you've kind of switched over, at least for now, to the sports car discipline, and you've run a bunch of different series. And I want to talk about this because I think there would be a lot of people in our audience who really would like to understand how they can go racing at a track like Daytona or Sebring or COTA or Indy or Charlotte or wherever for about $3,000 to $4,000 a race. Now, we should preface this by saying that, you can't just come out of the grandstand and fork over $3,000 and get in the car and go race. You've got to have a little bit of experience. But in this type of an environment, there are a number of series where that's possible. Now, I kind of call it the mid-level sports car series discipline or whatever. There's about 4 or 5 of these series. Can you kind of, in a minute or two, explain a little bit about the various series and how all that works and leads up to your progression towards series like IMSA and maybe the Trans Am series?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're new to racing or you want to or you've done a few track days, you want to get into a more competitive type of racing like endurance racing, you can absolutely run into champ cars, do a few track days with some track day groups, and then once you get enough experience where you feel pretty comfortable on the track, feel comfortable with having guys overtaking cars on track, you can contact Champ Car, and they're able to find you some arrive and drive teams. Same thing with the World Racing League and with 24 Hours of London series. Now,
you have those series, and then you've got NASA, not the same as the space people. You've got the NASA series. You've got SCCA. All of these series essentially are similar in that, again, you need only a modicum of experience. I would recommend starting out at maybe one of the local tracks that would run like the SCCA regional series or whatever. Do some of that for a little while, and then go out and get into some of these other series. But what I love about these is, again, it's very affordable. You're running on the same tracks that the bigger series do, and it's a great way to get experience in that type of a discipline, and you can fairly easily work your way up if you're good, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If you can do a few Champ Car races, do pretty good awareness out there, you can step into the World Racing League. And there's some pro level teams out there, like the team I drive for, Hammer Motorsports. They have some crazy IMSA cars, and there's some other teams that can do arrive and drive programs for you. So it's cool. You can get like a Porsche Club Sport car, the same car they'll run in the Michelin Pilot Sport Championship at IMSA, and it's a lot less cost than it would be to run an actual IMSA series.
Now, you actually, as we talked about, you kind of made your name first in the open wheel stuff. What led you over into the sports car side of this?
I was just looking at. I just got a really good opportunity racing with Eurotech for a couple races at the very end of the open wheel season in December, and after doing those, I had so much fun. I decided to try to take it a step further. I did a couple Champ Car races, so a little lower discipline of the series, and then me and AOA Racing kind of got into the championship hunt. We ended up winning the overall championship, so it was a very productive year. But just the opportunity you get in sports car racing is a lot bigger than you find in open wheel.
Well, and there's a lot more opportunity to race. I mean, you can kind of, mix and match between the series if you can get opportunities to do so. Some teams do multiple series and are open to doing different things. And the cool thing about this is that when you get to the higher levels, of which the World Racing League is kind of the Xfinity level for this type of racing, right? That's kind of the last stop before you get into the IMSA series. A lot of these series you could have 3 pros and then they have an amateur driver. And so it gives an opportunity for somebody, if you're good enough, to actually climb the ladder and be able to find your way into the races like, obviously Rolex and such, as kind of an amateur before you actually get to the top level, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's another cool aspect of it. If you're at any given Champ Car event, there's a good chance a professional driver will show up just doing on one of his off weekends, just doing a fun race. You'll be on track with some pretty legendary drivers. One of them that regulars also series is Randy Popes. You'll see him at the track almost every weekend. So if you're entering a Champ Car race or a Lucky Dog race especially, there's a really good chance you'll run into him. And I've actually had the opportunity to compete against him several times. It's really, really cool, especially when I was first getting into it, to be able to race really legendary drivers just right out of the gate.
Yeah, we had a race here just not long ago at COTA where we had Austin Dillon, Tyler Reddick, and Kaz Gralla all compete in that event. And I think that was obviously a little bit of a way for them to get to know that particular course before NASCAR goes there in 2021. But as you say, those types of series are good feeder series. Now, when you're running, if you go run a Champ Car race, it's a little different than running an oval race like what a lot of our people are used to. You actually get 2 races in one weekend, and most of them are, 6 hours or longer in length, right?
Yeah, your typical race is 8 hours on Saturday, 8 hours on Sunday. And there's a lot of cool events that you'll enter where it's 14 hours and it's full day, and you race through the night. And those are always really cool to do. And there's a few 24-hour races you can run. I know this year I'll be doing the 24 hours of Sebring and the 24 hours of Watkins Glen.
Oh, wow.
The World Racing League series. I'm really, really excited for those ones. That's my favorite. The long combined races are really, really cool to do.
Yeah, and of course you obviously have multiple drivers on the team just like they do in the IMSA series. So it's a great opportunity if you've got, you get a group of 2 or 3 drivers that kind of know each other and just want to go get some seat time or whatever. And there's, in a lot of these races, I know when Edward Adams, driver that I do some work with, Edward went to Indy in the fall to run the road course with Champ Car, and I think there were 70, maybe 70, 72, something like that, cars on the track all at the same time. So you're always either being passed or you're passing, and often it's both at the same time. So even though you would think that maybe this would be a lower level of competition, in reality, because of all the cars on the track, it's actually a much higher level of competition while you're racing. You're in traffic for a good share of the race.
Yeah, there's a big strategy aspect of it too. If you're in one of the lower end cars and you're in a lower class vehicle, like I was in a few opportunities this year to be in, there'll be lots of faster cars out there, but you might be able to out corner them. You might be a faster driver yourself. You still have the horsepower to keep up on the straightaways. So there's times where you almost want to block the lead cars coming up to lap you, because there's been faster cars, just so you don't get held up throughout the infield of a road course. So that's another really cool strategy aspect of it. If you're one of the faster drivers in the series, so sometimes you'll have a slower guy in a faster car that you'd have to kind of compete with on the road course part of it, and then try to have him pass you smoothly on the straightaway so you both don't lose too much time.
Now, you also have been doing some coaching and instruction. That's another interesting aspect of this type of racing, is a lot of times, this is where we start talking about track days, and you can take your own car a lot of times out on, a course like Watkins Glen or wherever and do a track day. Or, obviously there's opportunities to go and get instruction with a driver like yourself who at 21 has made a pretty big name for himself as a coach just because of the success you've had.
Yeah, and the driving coaching stuff is another really fun part of, especially in endurance racing, since you're working with, it's in your best interest that your teammates are fast. So there's a lot of times where sharing data really, really helps the team. Whereas in open wheel racing or even NASCAR, sharing data doesn't necessarily help you as much having your teammates up front with you. Sometimes you're helping your competition more than you're helping yourself. And that's the cool part about endurance racing is it's a major team effort on making sure everyone's fast, making sure everyone smooths everything. They're understanding the track as best as possible.
So really, it's a very technical type of racing, and it's a real challenge for a lot of people to go and do this sort of thing. And again, with a track day, you're basically lapping yourself is what you're doing. You're just racing the track and trying to better your times and learn about driving cars. We're going to step aside here, and we're going to send Jason off back into the land of hold just for a moment because we've got to take a break. But when we come back, we're going to have a conversation with Jason. We'll talk a little bit more about his own racing and try to kind of get more into the detail of what the differences are between some of these series and how, if there's anybody in our audience that wants to get started in this type of racing, how do they do it? So we're going to talk about that as well. This is the Lead Lap Radio Show presented by Victory Custom Trailers, and we will be right back.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper car, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Lewis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
Victory Custom Trailers is the place to go for your next new or used trailer or coach. Being personally involved in the racing community allows Victory to fully understand what racers need in a trailer. They have over 200 coaches and trailers in stock for a variety of industries, and they can serve anyone in the continental U.S. If you're looking for something custom, they can assist in designing a trailer to fit your needs. Check out their entire inventory online at victorycustomtrailers.com.
He wanted to be known for doing his best.
Sure, right.
His best made him Major League Baseball's most valuable player.
Strike two.
He played in 6 World Series and was elected to the Hall of Fame. Although an honest man, he was best at stealing home. But the best quality of Jackie Robinson's life was his character. So here's to you, Mr. Robinson. Thanks for passing it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at Values.com.
Hi, this is Spencer Boyd, and you're listening to Race Chaser Radio. Now back to the show.
As we do this show live on this Monday night, a lot of sports. This is a busy sports night. We've got the first night of the Chili Bowl going on out in Tulsa. That's where our Jacob Seelman is, and Jacob will miss Thursday night's Motorsports Madness show because of that. But we will be back here in the WSIC News studio for Thursday night Motorsports Madness, brought to you by My Computer Career. I will be hosting the show and have a full group of hosts here. We will also have Casey Schmitz, driver who's going to be making his first Chili Bowl start on Friday for the Friday night portion of it, trying to qualify for Saturday. And he'll be on the show on Thursday night. We've got Jason Reichert here tonight. Jason, one of our favorite guests, he's out of Las Vegas, and he is a top sports car racer. I want to try to, again, for our audience, Jason, can you talk a little bit about, because there's all these series. I mean, I think we established that World Racing League is actually the kind of the Xfinity series to IMSA's Cup, if you want to go that way. But what are the differences between the Champ Car Series, the Lucky Dog Series, the NASA Series, different series like that? What are the differences between the two for those who aren't really familiar? And is there an advantage to any one over the other for, say, somebody fairly new who's coming into that type of racing?
Yeah, the big advantage that you see in the World Racing League is there's a lot more professional teams, a lot more professional cars out there. So if you're really interested in getting pro-level racing with pro-level drivers, the World Racing League has lots of good opportunities with that, with lots of great teams with it. One of the cons of the World Racing League is the speed differential between a lot of the cars is very big. You'll see the GP4 cars versus the GTO cars. There's a huge speed gap on the straightaways, especially. You'll have cars hitting 160 on the straightaway with cars that only hit 110.
Wow.
You'll have big speed gaps between them. One thing about Lucky Dog, Champ Car, and the Lemon Series, all the cars are about equal. So you're racing with equal skilled cars, and the driver gap's a little bit bigger in the Champ Car Series. When you see a lot of pro-level guys get into that, you'll see that they have a huge advantage over some of the newer guys for the series, but the cars are more equal. So you still have a pretty big speed gap, but a lot of that's in the corners and not as much on the straightaways.
So it sounds like then your 24 hours of lemons, as you say it, and the maybe the NASA series or whatever, those series are kind of equal, and then Champ Car is sort of the mid pack series, if you will. Is that fair to say that, or how does it break out?
Yes, I'd say the Champ Car and the Lemon Series, they're about equal. Lemons does a lot more themed cars. You'll see cars like the Wiener Schnitzel car would drive there every once in a while. So you have some goofy cars that show up to the Lemons races. Whereas, I mean, there's one time I saw two Bonds of Miatas that were actually teammates, and they were Thing 1 and Thing 2 dressed up as the Dr. Seuss characters. You'll see some goofy stuff like that happen. Whereas in the NASA and Champ Car Series, you have a lot less themed cars.
Okay.
The NASA Series actually has similar cars to World Racing League, where there's a big performance gap between them. You have some spec Miatas out there, along with some Porsche GT3 cars that are pretty fast. You have the same kind of thing World Racing League has.
The fact that you said Wiener Schnitzel got you a bell. That's kind of how this works. I control the bell, so when we have a moment that I consider either to be funny or unique, and that was both, you get a bell. So if I want to go racing in that type of motorsports, if I want to get started, running in I guess we would call them amateur, right? Road course type series. Which one, how do I do it? If I've never raced anything before, how would you recommend? What do I do first? What's kind of typical? What's the on-ramp into that kind of racing?
The first thing I would do is I always believe the best series to start in is Champ Car.
Okay.
Lots of equal cars, and there's lots of new drivers in it, so it's widely accepted that there'll be mistakes made on track and very forgivable on that, in that series especially. So I would always recommend contacting the Champ Car Series and then finding a team. Oftentimes you'll find teams that do a lot of testing days. You get a testing day in a car. And that you almost get more value on a testing day than you would racing the car, just because you have the car to yourself normally, you pay a set fee, and then you drive the car all day. So instead of getting, say, 2 hours per day on a race, you get 1 day, and it's literally the track's over for 6 hours. So you can often run the car just 6 hours straight, really.
Wow.
Taking a couple breaks here and there for fuel and everything. And you get a lot of value for your money on just track days, just full private testing days. So if you can find a team that's willing to do that in the Champ Car Series, that would be a really, really good way of doing it.
Now, do you recommend I talked about, the track day idea or lapping days, however you want to say it, with where you bring maybe your own car if you've got a BMW or some sort of car like that that's more of a speed-oriented car. I don't know if you want to bring like a Chevy Cruze, but, if you've got a car that's kind of more of a racing-style car and you want to bring it and get some instruction, do you recommend something like that, or would you rather recommend actually getting with a race team and doing the practice day that way if you're just getting started and you want to get some experience?
With the racing team, oftentimes you'll have the team owner who usually drives in that kind of car. So you'll have him be able to coach you. So you often can find driving with a race team will be more beneficial.
Okay.
Especially if you plan on driving for that team. Because then you'll get used to the car. You'll get used to the car that you're driving. If you do have your own car, any track time always helps. So if you have a personal car that you can take to a track day, it's better than not going to it, is how I'd say it. If you can get time on the track, you should always go for it.
Now, how important is, for example, technique in terms of like heel toe? How important is that to kind of have down before you actually go racing? And could you get some of that experience if you have a decent iRacing setup where you can kind of mess with that? Again, how important is it? Because really, that's, you don't want to go into a test day and not have a clue how to, shift or heel toe or anything like that. What do you recommend in terms of technique that a driver would need to have before you go out in a race?
It's a little controversial. You'll have some teams that say you absolutely have to heel toe every single time you shift. You have other teams that will say it's not necessary. It's better if you, and no one will tell you it's better not to heel toe downshift.
Right.
But there are teams that will accept not doing it for you. It depends on the team you get on. It depends on the kind of driver consensus on it.
Okay.
There's the best way to learn heel toe downshifting for me. I bought myself a Mazda Miata to just take on tracks just to get that technique down. Especially when a transmission on a Miata is a lot cheaper than any other car you'll buy. You can get them on eBay for like $400, $500 to put in and replace. So it's better. It's really good if you're trying to learn that technique specifically to get your own track car, just because you can pick up a Miata for $2,000 and then learn the car. You get track time with it and you'll learn the technique with it. But learning in a team car is okay to do. As long as you're taking it easy. It's best to take a few slow laps just to really get that technique down and actually sit in the car and practice the movement of moving your heel over to the gas pedal on the braking pedal. Or if you can do it where you put half your foot on the brake and then flip the other half of your foot on the gas to rev match, the downshift.
Contact is extremely discouraged in this form of racing. Am I correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
If you make contact in a Champ Car race, you're going to have to report to the pit lane if they see it. There are drivers. I always think it's best to come in if you make any sort of contact in that series, especially Champ Car, just because they'll normally see it, and oftentimes if you self-report, they'll let you out faster. They'll take less of a time penalty. So it's one of those things. It's a morality check too. If you feel okay with making contact and trying to hide the fact you did it, you can oftentimes try to get away with it. I always think it's best to err on the side of caution. Take the small penalty. Don't risk getting summoned to pit lane and then having them hold you for 5 minutes. Whereas sometimes if you make minor contacts, I had a situation where someone bumped into the back of me. I came in myself. My whole penalty was 10 seconds instead of the 5 minutes as the other guy did when he didn't report. So there's oftentimes you can. It's a judgment call on if you think you should come in or if you think you should stay out and risk the penalty.
We've got some late model drivers here in the South that would spend more time on pit lane than they do actually on the racetrack competing, if that's the case. Okay.
Well, you also have to keep in mind you're giving the car to your teammates back. So if you're smashing into everyone, you're giving them an absolute just beat up car at the end of your stint. No one's gonna be happy with you on that one.
No, it's really a lot of fun. I mean, I joke because that's my job as the host, but it's really a lot of fun, and it's a great way to get some excellent car control experience and learn to be smooth, because that's really what road course racing is about. It's all about technique and, in racecraft and pass timing. And that's, pass timing is universal across the motorsport spectrum. Okay, so what are your plans for 2021, Jason? Where it sounds like you're going to be spending a lot of time, maybe a full season again in the World Racing League. Talk about what your plans are as you know now.
Yeah, as of now, I'm racing the Audi TCR for Hammer Motorsports. Really excited to get with that team. Our first race we're going to run is March 5th through 7th at Barber. So I'm really excited to go to that track. I've already raced there a couple times. That was actually my first World Racing League win at that track, so I'm really excited to get back there. Hopefully we continue the streak on it. But I'm really excited to get with that team. They're very professional, and Audi TCR car is incredibly reliable, really fast on the track. So it's going to be a good year, I hope. And, of course, you can't do all this by yourself, Jason. So talk about who helps you make it all happen. Yeah, Lucas Oil has been one of my big sponsors for years. Same thing with Forgotten Saints LA. And those two companies have done an absolute huge amount for me. Alpha Landscapes has also helped out throughout the years. So it's been, without sponsors, I definitely couldn't have been doing all this stuff. Okay, so we've got to step aside. Don't go anywhere, Jason. We're gonna just put Jason back in the hold, and we're gonna come around the corner with him and do a little bit of 5 questions here with Jason Reichert. So we'll be back with the rest of the League Lap show presented by Victory Custom Trailers right after this.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper car, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Lewis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
He wanted to be known for doing his best. Sure, right. His best made him Major League Baseball's most valuable player. Strike 2. He played in 6 World Series and was elected to the Hall of Fame. Although an honest man, he was best at stealing home. But the best quality of Jackie Robinson's life was his character. So here's to you, Mr. Robinson. Thanks for passing it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at Values.com.
When Marlon Shirley was 5 years old, he was in an accident and lost his foot, but he didn't lose his heart.
When you tackle a challenge that you just cannot even fathom tackling, when you accomplish that, the amount of integrity and the will and the heart that you'll get from that experience is what will set you up for your life.
In less time than it took Marlon Shirley to say that, he can now run 100 meters because today he's the world's fastest amputee. Overcome it. Pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
Hi, this is Ross Chastain. You're listening to Race Chaser Radio. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back. Lead Lap Radio rolls on. This is actually our white flag / checkered flag segment, the final segment of tonight's show. And again, for those of you who have tuned in at 7 o'clock, you're now getting the inside pass for an hour and then lead lap for an hour, twice the fun on Monday nights. We basically took an hour off of this show and brought the inside pass in, kind of an around the horn style rapid fire debate show with a bunch of us hosts. And Noah Lewis beat me by a point today in our first inside pass debate for 2021. It was a lot of fun. We had a good time, and Peter Strada also along for the ride, along with host Randy Miller. So make sure you tune in at 7 o'clock every Monday night for the Inside Pass, and then we go to this show at 8 o'clock. This show brought to you by Victory Custom Trailers. Victory Custom Trailers, of course, based in Michigan, but they'll ship a trailer anywhere, even outside the continental U.S. So if you're listening to us somewhere in the world that isn't the United States and you need a trailer for any reason whatsoever, whether it's motorsports related or not, they have got all kinds of trailers for all uses, all purposes, new and used, over 200 new and used trailers in stock, but their specialty is custom trailers, and they're so good at it and so confident in their abilities to produce exactly what you want that they put a button on their website. You just click the button up at the top of the site and you can design your own trailer right on their website, victorycustomtrailers.com. Make sure you think about, if you want to go to Victory Lane, you got to do it with a Victory Custom Trailer, and make sure you think about them first when you're looking for a new trailer or transporter. VictoryCustomTrailers.com. We appreciate their support. And we've got Jason Reichert still with us out of Las Vegas. And we're going to do a little rapid fire with Jason here. Jason's 21 and is a 15-time motorsports champion. We've enjoyed talking with him tonight about his open wheel stuff, along with a lot of conversation about amateur road course racing. And again, if you missed part or all of it, you can just search and follow Race Chaser Radio on any major podcast platform. This show will be posted tomorrow, streaming live on demand whenever you would like to listen to it. Okay, Jason Reichert, here we go. First answer that comes to mind: if there was a sandwich called the Jason Reichert sandwich, what's on it?
Oh, God, that's a tough one. I'm actually going to go pretty basic on this one. It's going to be a hamburger, cheese, and then Thousand Island sauce on it.
He gets a buzzer for not saying bacon. How can you not put bacon on a burger?
Oh, jeez.
What's wrong with you?
I didn't.
Man, oh man!
That was bad critical decisions on my part.
Yeah, that's like you're going to pit lane for a 30-second penalty for that one. Okay,
I think 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's exactly right. Yes. Okay, if there were 3 apps and only 3 apps that you could keep on your phone, what are the 3 apps you are keeping?
I'm going to go with mobile banking. That way I can just see what's going on with my bank account. Then I guess Instagram and Facebook, I guess. Just 2 social media apps and just my basic utility. I guess that's it.
I'm going to give him a ding for that, because he's the first driver that's ever went practical with like the mobile banking thing. All these other guys and girls that we bring in here, they're all doing the social media stuff or Angry Birds or whatever. And Jason, very first thing he thinks about is the money. See?
Yeah, you got to have money to go racing.
That shows you the maturity of this guy. That's why he has all those sponsors. That's how this works. Okay, so question number 3. Favorite kind of music?
I like alternative rock music. Nothing too crazy, just kind of relaxing stuff normally.
So, example of a group or two that you like.
God, I'm drawing a blank on this. Yellow Card's always been my favorite band. They're a little bit older. They're discontinued now. It's kind of the music I grew up listening to when I was 8, 9 years old. And, God, now I'm trying to think. I like Panic at the Disco. They're a local band from Vegas that now made it pretty big, so I like those guys too.
Okay, if Jason Reichert could not be a race car driver or be involved in the sport at all, what does Jason Reichert do with his life?
Oh, that's tough. I've always had I've actually a weird answer. I'd like to actually be a chef. I do enjoy cooking a little bit, and I'd like to be good at that.
Just make sure you put bacon on the burgers, okay? I mean, let's just let's throw that back in there again. Okay, and finally, if you could be stranded on an island with one book and only one book that you have to read for the rest of your life, what book is it?
One book I have to read for the rest of my life. I'm going to go with a Tom Clancy military book that I haven't read yet. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I'm going to go with a long military book because I know it's going to be a long time if that's the last thing I get to read.
See, I'm going to give myself a buzzer here because I thought, sure, you were going to go straight for the Bible, and because I know how faithful you are.
Oh, jeez.
So well, Tom.
God, I didn't think of that. I messed that up.
We'll
can I change my answer now?
Yeah, we'll just give you the question this way. Besides the Bible, if you had one book. All right. Well, that was fun. You did a nice job on the Fast Five. Fun to have you on tonight, Jason. We appreciate you taking the time. If fans want to follow you on social media, how do they do it?
Oh yeah, my name is Jason Reichert. My last name is spelled Reichert, and I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. You can check out my YouTube channel. I post some of my driving up on there, and then I post stuff on Instagram and Facebook all the time.
Do you have a website, sir?
Yes, jasonreichert.net.
jasonreichert.net, REICHERT, jasonreichert.net. Great job, Jason. Always appreciate having you on. We'll get you back on again after you get into your season a little bit and talk to you some more. That is Jason Reichert. We appreciate him being on. And James, again, always a fun opportunity to feature a driver here on Lead Lap, but this has been a wicked sports night. I mean, if you're just joining us, we always do these shows live on Monday nights, and tonight we've not only got the Chili Bowl going on, but we've got the championship game in college football, which I think is still tied up at 7 right now with Ohio State and Alabama. Always a lot of fun when we have so much going on here because we kind of tend to multitask and try and keep track of everything. And James has been keeping an eye on the game for us while he's producing the show. Well, I have to focus on, obviously, the content of the show. But we'll get back to some race talk here with James. First of all, for those who don't know James, he's worked with us now going into his second year. And James graduated from the Carolina School of Broadcasting, but has been working in the sport for quite a while. In various roles, car team related. Most recently, this past year, for 6 years?
Yeah, 6 years.
6 years with Levine Family Racing, and of course now that team no more. Unfortunately, what's the latest word on your job prospects, sir?
I've had a couple of interviews. I've sat down and talked to a couple of companies, and they seem interested. Hoping to hear something by the end of the week and have some good news for you guys next week, maybe even Thursday.
By companies, he means race teams.
Yes.
Just for all of you.
I just call them companies, but yes, race teams.
Well, they are companies. Yeah. That's really the truth at this level. So that's good. We're happy to hear that you've got some things maybe going on here. And if there are any team owners listening or crew chiefs listening to this show and you need an addition to your team and you want somebody who is hardworking and dedicated and committed and a great team player, we could not recommend Red more highly. So let us know and reach out. And oh, by the way, I also want to get this nugget in too. Nick Moncher, who has been James's replacement a number of times when James has had to be gone. Nick comes in and produces, but also he brings he's been with Venturini Motorsports now for a bit, and this past year, we had a great time with him with all of the various drivers that they had. Nick is now in a different position in the sport. He's working for Eric Lawson at the Racing Warehouse, and that's a great opportunity for him. And while we were doing this show, Nick has been, if you know anything about the Racing Warehouse, and if not, you should just look them up online. They do auctions. Racing Warehouse of memorabilia, easy for me to say. Memorabilia outfit, and you can get some awesome motorsports memorabilia there, die casts and all kinds of parts and bodies and jackets, and I mean, just way too much to talk about. They do online auctions, and Nick was going to host his first couple of auctions tonight. So I hope he's practiced for his auctioneer role that he's playing. We're going to try to get Nick and Eric into one of these shows upcoming, and that should be a lot of fun. So I wanted to pass that along because we're big fans of the Racing Warehouse here, and we're also big fans of Nick Moncher, and Nick's been a great friend to us at Race Chaser Radio. So happy for him to get that opportunity. Gets him off the road, which is the biggest reason that he decided to take that position when it was offered. Is and you know yourself, Fred.
I think that's going to be a great opportunity for him. I mean, he knows how to brand race cars, and this company here is just getting started up. And they've been going for a while, but they're really starting to explode.
They are.
They really are. Yep. And putting a guy like Nick on your team, it's really going to help you explode that much more because he understands the marketability on how to make that stuff sell and increase and get in touch with those people because he already has the contacts to bring stuff in through the door to help this company. So I think Nick's going to be a great addition to that team.
Yeah, I really do. It's it's a very different role for him. He does really well with social media. He's having a lot of fun with it. And so looking forward to seeing what develops from that situation there with Nick and Eric together at the Racing Warehouse. That should be a lot of fun. And again, we're going to try to get both of them in to do a show because they both can tell some good stories. And Nick's a whole lot of fun when you get him where he's just got a microphone in front of him instead of having to produce.
Who knows? We might be able to get him to do a quickie auction while on the show with us.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, if you get him to do a quickie auction, get him to draw people over here and say, hey, listen to the show.
Maybe we could get him in on a Thursday and we could auction off Jacob Seelman.
Yeah, that's fine with me. Let's do it. No, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
We'll auction off. Sell him to the highest bidder. This is what you get, Jacob, when you go off to the Chili Bowl. Leave us here to do shows. You get auctioned off. So that'll be a good time when we get those guys in. Okay, so. We've had a lot of stuff. Obviously, the preseason is almost over, James. I mean, I know that you're still kind of looking for your next great opportunity as far as team aspect goes, but you know where the teams are at this point. I mean, there's a month before Daytona. What's going on in the shops right now?
Right now in the shops, you're doing your final prep work. I mean, your Daytona car is about to roll into the shop, so you're getting ready for that. So right now, you're doing all the off-season finishing up stuff. You're getting the pit boxes ready. You're getting the toolboxes restocked. You're painting if you want to paint. You're getting the shop exactly how you want it for next year. If you're moving stuff around, it's getting set in its spot that it's usually going to set for most of that year now. You're getting everything to where you like it and ready. You're starting to order your stuff in that you know you're going to need for that year in bulk. If you need certain things that you know you buy in bulk that's cheaper, you're starting to get that stuff ready. And it's just getting ready for that first race. You're getting haulers wrapped. You're figuring out what the sponsors are. You're getting fire suits ready, and that's the upfront people. You're getting all that stuff ready because Daytona's, last time I heard it was 43 days away, and I know it's under that now, so it's probably close to 40.
Yeah, I mean, it's about a month and a week or so, roughly, 5 weeks, somewhere in there. And this being a lame duck year last year for these cars that we're running now before we bring the new cars in, how's that going to change the racing or the competition, do you think? I mean, what's different this year being that situation?
I don't think it's going to change much. I really don't. I think there's still going to be those cars that are really, really fast, and I think you're still going to have your guys that are toward the back of the field like normal. But I think the racing is still going to be the exact same way that it was. I think the point that you're really going to notice the fall-off is once the chase comes in. The ones who make the chase and don't, I think, is when you'll notice the fall-off. That's my opinion, because you're going to try to start saving money at that point. You're not racing for a championship anymore, so you might consider saving a little bit of money here and there if it's possible. So I think it'd be later in the year before you see anything, if you do.
I think you could see more aggression on the track because you don't need this inventory
Yeah,
after this year.
I agree with you 100%. I think there's going to be a lot of people out there that are racing really tough this year.
Yeah, it could be.
It's going to be fun to watch for sure.
Checkers or wreckers style racing as we get later into the season, especially. It should be the playoffs should be really, really fever pitch this year. I think is the last year for the cars. You're not bringing them back, so if we crash, oh well, we're going to win. That's it. We're done with Lead Lap presented by Victory Custom Trailers. Thanks to mycomputercareers.edu as well. I'm Tom Baker. See you next Monday night on Lead Lap Radio. Bye.
You've been listening to Lead Lap Radio powered by Victory Custom Trailers, the leaders in custom trailer sales and service. Design your own custom trailer at victorycustomtrailers.com. Lead Lap Radio is a Race Chaser Media production. For more exciting and passionate motorsport content, follow Race Chaser Media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, and visit racechasermedia.com. The opinions expressed by our guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of the staff, management, affiliates, or marketing partners of Race Chaser Media. No part of this show may be reproduced in any manner without the expressed written consent of Race Chaser Media. Thank you for listening.